finally some sleep.
Space is so great. Space is so great. Space is so great. Space is so great. Space is so great.
You know what's not great though? Space junk. No, that's still junk, but better. There we go. Space junk. But Space Jesus, I hear you ask. What in the bloody hell is space junk? Space junk is just junk from Earth in space. Things like dead satellites, rocket parts and fairings, all the way down to little tiny flecks of paint. Well, what's wrong with space junk? Well, space junk is just another form of pollution. Just like the plastic that plagues our oceans, space junk plagues low Earth orbit. Let's have a look at some numbers. As of October 2019, the Space Surveillance Network has detected 19,779 satellites in orbit. And that comprises active satellites, defunct satellites, and debris. And this is just stuff we can track. As of January 2019, it's estimated that there's 128 million pieces of debris smaller than a centimetre in size. There are 900,000 between 1 centimetre and 10 centimetres, and there are 24,000 pieces 10 centimetres or larger. So if we add all of that up, and I'm subtracting all of the active satellites for obvious reasons, there are approximately 128,951,717 pieces of space junk in orbit. Now there's an estimated 5.25 trillion pieces of plastic in our oceans. Comparatively, space junk only makes up, that's a lot of zeros, so yeah, that much percent of the plastic that would be in the ocean, but it's in space. Yeah. So why is space junk so bad? Last time I checked, there weren't any space turtles. Gotta admit, space turtles would be pretty fucking cool though. The big stuff isn't so bad. We can dodge the big stuff. We can see it coming. But just like here in Australia, it's the little things that are dangerous. Space junk isn't stationary. It's moving fast. How fast? Let's give you an idea. A 50 cal bullet travels at 3,000 kilometers an hour. And this is the damage it can do. Some space junk is moving at speeds of up to 28,000 kilometers an hour. And when it hits something, oh boy! These impacts will not only annihilate their target, but the resulting debris field is where the problem really starts. At first, you had a single projectile, and that impacts with something. Now you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of more projectiles flying off at random trajectories, hitting God knows what. And when they hit their next target, this problem only magnifies. Not only does this provide a massive risk to critical space infrastructure like GPS, weather, and communication satellites, but in the long run, it poses a much darker threat. Short and sweet, worst case scenario. This cloud of debris, like the nothing from the never-ending story, knocks out our GPS, comms, and weather satellites. ISS, BISS, so not only are we now blind down on Earth, but anything that we try to launch back up there only adds fuel to the dumpster fire. Get it? Because it's like junk and dumpster. Yeah, doors there, okay, thanks. So how do we start fixing this problem? Well, mitigation is always the best place to start. We can start designing rockets that don't leave debris in orbit, or they have systems in place to remove that debris and have it burn up on re-entry. SpaceX have taken a step forward to addressing this issue with the Falcon 9 reusable rocket, but Musk giveth with one hand and taketh with the other. Starlink. A name that sends shudders down the spines of astronomers and astrophotographers everywhere. You may have heard of this program before. It's a network of satellites that will orbit the globe in an attempt to provide internet coverage to 90% of the world. This is a double-edged sword though. There are currently 538 Starlink satellites in orbit, with 12,000 total planned. But there could be a possible expansion of up to 42,000 Starlink satellites. With more sats going up, so too does the chance for our worst case scenario. However, there are more immediate issues that arise from Starlink. Remember before how I said that it sent a shudder down the spine of astronomers and astrophotographers? Well, that's not one of fear. That's one of anger. The first few batches of Starlink satellites that went up were incredibly reflective and would render some of the images taken by astronomers and astrophotographers completely useless. Before Starlink, satellites destroying frames was still an issue we had to deal with, but it was nowhere near the magnitude of what Starlink can become. However, SpaceX are trying to combat this issue. In one of their more recent launches, there was a new satellite called DarkSat, which featured a new anti-reflective coating. And finally, we have some image results. I'll let you guys be the judge on this one. Well then, how do we deal with all of this space junk? It's not easy. Some companies have come up with a couple of different ideas. One being a net that snares the satellites so we can drag them back down into orbit and have them burn up on re-entry. Another is to use a large laser to push the satellites out of orbit or burn them up if they're small enough. And another is a large electrical cable that is somehow designed to slow down the satellites. I'm not sure I quite understand that last one, but fuck it. Space tasers. Now, like I said before, mitigation is the best thing that we can do moving forward. Unfortunately, unlike here on Earth, there are no laws against littering in space, and this is something that I would like to see change. I propose an addition to the International Space Treaty. What goes up must come down. If you launch something into orbit, it must have the capability to remove itself from that orbit and either come back to Earth to be reused or burn up on re-entry. Well, now I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below of your crazy ideas to help get rid of space junk. Here's my one. We take the intern and we tie him to the back of a rocket. That's me. That's little space Jesus flying the rocket. And then he will just go around and just pick up the space junk. Or it'll hit him and kill him. 50-50. Numbers and all. But yeah, no, it should work. That's what interns are for. And as always, cheers, stay safe, and clear skies.